In this video, we are going to cover the most iconic command mech in the history of Battletech. Famed for its Tacticon B2000 battle computer and having a unique appearance in nature, today we are going to talk about Stormvanger Assembly Unlimited's Commander of Legions, the Cyclops. An assault mech weighing in at 90 tons, the Cyclops is famed not entirely for its battlefield prowess, but by being the commander of armies. Built with several sophisticated systems such as the Olmsted 840 communication system and the Tacticon B2000 battle computer, the Cyclops can coordinate on a planetary scale, and can individually provide instructions to regiments, or during the Sldf's era, brigades, of Battlemechs. Originally designed for the Sldf, these machines were utilized by commanders even then, though they were not like their peers, the Battlemaster, renowned for being a frontline machine charging forward as a frontline command unit, but rather the Cyclops is known for hanging back in reserve and commanding from behind the lines. Should the opponent manage a breakthrough, often they will find it heavily protected, and should they engage with the Cyclops themselves, many forward teams will find that they are perhaps entering a fight with a monster that can offer more power than they bargained for. The Cyclops, though a capable war machine in its own right, is meant to be a true commander of large formations. Unfortunately, over time, and in particular due to the Emeris Civil War and First Succession War, only 10% of these machines would remain equipped with their original B2000 battle computers due to a loss of the ability to make the computers and an inability to repair them, which would push Cyclopses often into roles in assault formations that they were never really meant to be in. This mech would be the seat of many generals over the history of the Star League and Inner Sphere, using it to command and fight across the deadly conflicts that would emerge in the chaos and violent history of the region. Despite not being meant to be a frontline mech, the primary production model of the Cyclops since it emerged in 2710, the CP-10-Z, is by no means a slouch for the time it appeared in, and is a devastating weapon of warfare in its own right. Powered by a Hermes 360 standard engine, this 90-ton giant lumbers across the battlefield at an impressive 64 kilometers per hour, or 6 movement points in the tabletop game. This speed may not be seen as impressive to some, but for a 90-ton assault mech, this is the peak speed possible without additional modifications outside of the engine, and it allows it to move along with the standard speed of mediums, heavies, and faster assaults that it may need to strategically move with. Tactically, it also means that the Cyclops can outpace some of its more heavily armed assault mech peers, such as the Atlas or the Stalker. For heat sinks, the Cyclops supports 12 overall, giving it the ability to fire its weapons in close without overheating too much, though over time this will result in it suffering consequences for firing its weapons in this way. Where the Cyclops truly shines as a design is in its heavy weaponry, despite its speed. Armed with a Zeus 36 Mark III autocannon class 20, it carries with it the heaviest and most dangerous close-range weapon of its era. In addition, it supports the Hovertech short-range missile system with 4 tubes, giving it some crit-seeking ability as well. To back up all of this at close range, it possesses 2 diverse optics Type 20 medium lasers. Finally, for its long-range ability, though this is somewhat tame for its weight, it still has a respectable Delta Dart long-range missile system with 10 tubes. Interestingly, the Cyclops possesses an enormous 4 tons of ammunition for the AC-20 autocannon, stocking it with a large number of cells, which will allow the autocannon to take part in a prolonged series of engagements, though unfortunately there is a catch. For all of its speed and firepower, there needs to be a sacrifice somewhere, and in the case of the Cyclops, its Achilles heel is its armored protection. At 90 tons, it has a meek 10 tons of standard armor, giving it the same protection as many 60-ton or even 50-ton Battlemechs, and leaving it dangerously vulnerable to heavy weapons fire, making this extremely valuable and heavily armed mech potentially in a very precarious position should it take on the attention of dedicated weapons fire from its opposition. The CP-10-Z is an impressive machine in many respects, and is one that demands recognition on the battlefield from its devastating close-range firepower and potential command abilities. Its primary shortcoming often leads the design to be overlooked, which is primarily its inadequate armor. But in truth, this assault mech is very much a dangerous player on the battlefield, especially if it's punching down against heavy and medium mechs, which are in truth its expected targets. The Cyclops is an assault mech, but it's not truly meant to lead assault formations or breakthrough units. It's meant to command armies and ward off forces that would try to disable or destroy it, which is something it is more than capable of taking care of. Sadly, over the Succession Wars, this design would increasingly be pushed into the role it was never meant to be a part of due to the realities of what was happening in the Inner Sphere at that time. Due to this flaw in its design, many would alter the Cyclops significantly through refits and new production models. After the Clan invasion, the ability to replicate and reproduce the B-2000 slowly came back into function as well, and it restored to new models much of what made the Cyclops the Cyclops. In the first Succession War, a major refit took place with the Cyclops, which is the CP-10-Q. Introduced in 2801, it would remove the AC-20 autocannon for an additional LRM-10, as well as for more ammunition, heat sinks, and an immense 7 tons of more armor. Though this would significantly reduce its hitting power, this variant of the Cyclops does keep it safer, and encourages the mech to stay at longer ranges, all while it increases its survivability massively, making it almost as armored as an Atlas. Though not perfect, it is an attempt to help this machine and its incredibly valuable communications and computer systems survive longer on the field of battle. In 3045, prior to the Clan invasion, a new refit known as the CP-11-A would appear, replacing the AC-20 autocannon with a brand new and extremely effective Gauss rifle. This would be the primary model which would stare down the Clan invasion. Inadequately armored, despite its new long-range striking power, it would be problematic for this unit to survive engagements with the much better armed opposition. But the Gauss rifle on board perhaps was a lifesaver for many formations, when at the time this was a very rare but powerful weapon and was largely on par with its Clan counterparts. For the final variant we'll be discussing today, I wanted to look at a machine that used the most advanced technology. For that, I thought the best example of this would be the CP-11-G. Designed and newly built for the famous Comguard, the Free Rosselhaig Republic, and the 2nd Star League Defense Forces. This model would install endo steel in its production and would utilize 15 tons of ferrofibrous armor, solving its protection issues. In addition, it utilized a Gauss rifle and LRM-10, still giving it a good long-range capability, and replaced its medium lasers with ER medium lasers, as well as the SRM-4 with an SRM-4 streak launcher. Finally, it has the benefit of having a case for its ammunition, attempting to save the machine and the pilot in the event of an ammunition explosion. Though there are several other advanced designs, including some which utilize the famous C3 systems, the CP-11-G seems like the perfected Cyclops of the variants available. The Cyclops Strengths, when outfitted with its intended electronics, is that of the ultimate command vehicle. Able to keep up with formations and able to defend itself, this is a one-mech command station, increasing the effectiveness of those around it as a commander directs and gives orders to whole formations with crisp and clean communications. Even when pressed into a proper assault role, it can bully and break medium and heavy mechs before it, and keeps up with its own formations on a strategic and tactical level. Originally, and in several configurations since, the Cyclops has suffered from poor armor, or in some eras has lost its valuable command mech abilities. This has meant the machine can be left filling roles it was never designed to deal with, and can be vulnerable to enemy fire as it's treated like a 90-ton Atlas. Even in some configurations that aim to fix this early on, like the CP-10-Q, it makes it more durable, but at the cost of its fighting abilities. The Cyclops is the strategic command vehicle of Battletech, at least among the spheroids who pilot it. It is renowned for its ability, and it's one that cannot be forgotten, and neither can its vicious killing ability to those mechs putting themselves against it in less than ideal circumstances. Many Mechwarriors have stared down the one-eyed monster and met their end. Thank you for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. There is also a YouTube member program to support this channel as well, and I appreciate the support from members immensely. With that, I will catch you all in the comments section below.